Okay, we're here in Jacksonville, Florida at the gym. It's actually called The Gym. It's in Jacksonville, Florida. And we're gonna start, from this point shooting some YouTube videos. I'm here with IFBB Pro Don Long, who's actually a Team Long coach, And so weekly or monthly, we're gonna start doing some different videos, explain some different tips, training tips, nutrition, and what have you. Today, what we're gonna do though, we're gonna start off what I called and created years ago, touch-up training. Years ago, I was started bodybuilding myself, and I had weak body parts, that I found and was told that I needed to work on. So, in the back of my mind, I had to try to find some kind of way to create and build those weak body parts, and I wanted to do it actually in a hurry. And so I started thinking back from my past, before I even started bodybuilding. I used to do construction. I used to actually have a set of dumbbells in my home, and I really didn't go to the gym, but I always did dumbbell curls every single day. But when I was in construction, I noticed that, the big construction guys who were actually, were been doing it for years, they would hammer, and I noticed, and on each one of those guys, one arm was actually bigger than the other. So it kind of always stuck with me with that, that repetition of using that arm every single day made that muscle bigger than the other one. And then also, once again, learning from myself by doing dumbbell curls on a daily basis. And I did them every day, about 4 or 5 sets before I left the house, just because I just wanted to walk out of the house with a pump, I guess. But anyway, in turn, my arms were always big, because they stay full, they stay big. And when I got into bodybuilding, that's why the arms were some of the best things, one of the best body parts on me. But also looking back, it was, I used to watch tennis a lot. Tennis, if you do notice a tennis player, especially the professional tennis players, by them, once again, using that one arm on a daily basis, probably for years and years since they were kids, that one arm is much bigger than the other arm. And so once again, that stuck in my mind. So when I went to my first nationals, Jim Mannion, the president of the IFBB, told me, you look good, but you need to work on your back and bring a bigger and better back next time you come back. And so, I took his advice and I went back to the drawing board and took what I did of doing dumbbell curls every single day. So I started training my back every single day, 4 sets only. I would do my major workout, and then 4 sets at the end of the workout would be some type of back movement, whether it be pull-ups, and we'll demonstrate a few of exercises later on throughout the video. But whether it be pull-ups, rows, or any type of movement that's going to widen and thicken my back, stimulating that muscle on a daily basis, that back muscle, I would do that on a regular basis. And then so in turn, when I went back to the next year, I saw that, my back had made major improvements. So it let me know that, not only did it work for my arms years ago, it actually did bring my back up a lot. So following that, I really started incorporating into many of my weak areas. Because I was a small guy starting out at 170 pounds, starting out bodybuilding. And so I was just a slim guy. I didn't have good calves, I didn't have big quads, I didn't have big hamstrings. My delts were okay and had good potential, but I wanted them to be the best. So I came back, and what I did is I had a night session where it was strictly related to touch-up training. Now granted, everybody's not gonna have the convenience, but I did have the convenience at that time to come back at night and do nothing but touch-up training. So I would pick about 4 different body parts, and that would be what my night routine would be. It would be like delts I would come back, the rear delts I would do, quads I would do, hams I would do, and then a couple of other touch-ups I would still do after my training during the day. And but in turn, after doing those, each one of those body parts made huge improvements. I had really good delts because I did side laterals of some sort every single day. I had a good back because I did some type of back movement every day. Quads, I would do some type of leg extension or squatting movement every day. And then once again, 4 to 5 sets only. So sometimes people say, well, you can train your back or quads every day, but you only stimulate it. Once again, the consistent repetitionally train that muscle every day is going to send good blood to that muscle, breaking fibers a little bit every day. But in turn, that muscle seems to grow because of it, you know. And then, of course, at that point, as it was working for me, my training partners, you know, I suggested to them, you know, you guys should try this on your weak areas. And once again, seeing results, you know. And as I got into coaching, this is something I laid out on each one of my athletes' plan. After analyzing their body, I would analyze the weaknesses on their body and put that on their paper to implement it, you know, to something to do on a regular basis. Such as Armando, you know, he started off as a smaller guy also, and now of course he's big. But you know, he wanted his delts bigger, they got bigger. He wanted his hamstrings bigger, they got bigger. You know, and of course his back, you know, needed, you know, more development. And lo and behold, once again, his back, you know, when he hits a back double bicep now, he has a great back double bicep. Before it was very weak and not as muscular, but in turn of hitting the touch-up training on a consistent basis, and he's very consistent about his touch-up training. He does it. He has a map of how he's going to do it. Lays out sometimes on paper of how he's going to do it. Each day has a different touch-up, so to speak, and then and he implements it on, you know, a regular basis. And then of course now with his contest prep, he's in contest prep right now. He'll same thing. He'll come at night and do his different touch-up training that he has on his list, you know. And so everybody once again has their own weaknesses. And of course, you know, if you are working a full-time job and you're not getting rest, sometimes you're not going to be able to add in a ton of touch-up training because it could add to be too much on the body. But when you're getting proper rest, proper food, then the touch-up training simply can be implemented and work very well. And of course, the name touch-up training comes from, like, you know, for example, if you have a house and the house is perfect, but it has some flaws that need some touch-up to it. And so years ago, once again, this is kind of where the name touch-up. You have a body and you have a decent body, but you have little flaws that need touch up on. So it's not, once again, it's not building the whole house. You're just touching up on that body and bringing up the flaws in it. And that's where the name touch up, you know, training comes from. Just, you know, a simple name. But once again, years ago, once again, in fact, you know, you go back, it's been at least 24, 25 years ago since I started this, you know. So. And then once again, it worked for me. It continues to work on each one of my athletes, and I pass along. I'm sure they pass along, and it's something great that you can implement into your training program, and it works out really well. The key thing is, you know, you want to be well rested, you want to be well fed, and you want to be very consistent with it and believe in it. If you pity pat with it, and then one day you're hitting it, one day you're not, because you don't see it on day one or day two, then you're probably going to miss the boat. You have to put a good month in there, and you'll start seeing some results right away. In a full year, you will really change that entire body part to a certain degree. And then once again, until you're comfortable with that body part being developed, you continue to hit it as your touch up. And once again, once that body part is developed, and then you move on to something else that you may seem weaker, you know. So, and what we're going to do is, like I said, throughout this thing, we're going to go ahead and show you some different demonstrations of some of the things that Armando does for his weak areas. So okay. Right now, what Armando is going to do is, once again, just demonstrate a lat pull down. And this, once again, this is one of his touch-ups. And probably this could be a touch-up for many. A lot of times when people come to me, the back is one thing, you know, that they really want to build up on, you know, and because once again, as they say, shows are one from the back. You can rest it for a second, Armando. Shows are one from the back. You know, most people come to me and they need development on their back, whether it be men's physique, classic physique, bodybuilding, figure, and then sometimes even bikini, when they work with Sarah, my wife, they need development on their back, you know, and then the figure needs development on their back. And so back is sometimes a major touch-up training for most, you know. And so Armando is going to demonstrate, you know, correct form. And the key thing about touch-up training, you don't have to go to your maximum weight. You know, you want to go to where you're really, you know, going for strict form, getting into the depthness of the muscle without a struggle. But at the same time, you want to still put some weight up there so you can get a great pump. And normally what we do is, you know, something like a 15, 16, 12, 10, 8, or like a 20, 16, 12, 10. But once again, fourth sets, you know, sometimes you feel like a fifth set, you do a fifth set. I would say no more than 5 sets is necessary for each touch-up exercise. Okay, so he's going to just demonstrate the lat pull down, and of course with correct form. What we like to do is, one, we like to get a full stretch, but we also like to get a full squeeze so you can get, once again, deep into the muscle. And so he brings it straight down to his chest, isolate the muscle, and then stretch it back up for the good stretch. And then once again, just squeezing and visualizing once again that the back is doing the work, and then And then over time, this is where the development comes. If you're just doing it and not really connecting with the muscle, then you're missing out on your touch-up because it's not going to really connect with the muscle and get the development that you need. So take advantage of a touch-up training where you can really learn how to isolate your muscles. You know, this is only exercise you're going to do for that body part, so you don't have to worry about gassing out. Just 4 hard sets, get into the muscle, learning development, learning the muscle connection, and squeezing and going, you know. And that's kind of like a back touch-up, you know. Once again, but a back touch-up can also be a seated row. It can be bent over rows. It can be any type of back movement that you feel. It can be a hammer strength machine. So you can kind of flip-flop, you know. Now, if you know you need width on your back, you primarily want to stick to wide grip exercises. If you know you need a little more thickness in the center, you're going to do more close grip exercises. So depending on where you feel your weaknesses is and where you want to kind of implement it. Me, I kind of rotate around because I want a combination of everything when I was doing it. I wanted the thickness, I wanted the width, so that's why I flip-flopped around, you know, every other day with something different, you know. So if your back is kind of symmetrically okay, but just smaller, then you work on the width, you work on the thickness, and then you play around with different movements that way, okay? So we'll move on to something else, a different touch-up training, so you can get an example also, okay? So now we're gonna go on to a hamstring touch-up. Once again, a lot of times guys and girls, once again, you know, come and they may have weaker hams, especially, you know, if a guy starts off his career and he trains quads and hams together, a lot of times you'll notice that the development of the hamstrings will be the first thing lacking because of that. Sometimes when you're training quads as hard as you possibly can, then a lot of times you're not going to have that kind of energy to put in the work that hamstring needs also, because hamstring needs to be trained just as hard as quads. So that's why I believe in separating those two muscles so you can get the most. But anyway, people come and they may have shallow hams, then once again, hamstring touch-ups are necessary. This is something I had to do also. I had you know, smaller hams, but by the time I started doing these on the regular, I really had a nice ham hang, you know, from doing them consistently on a daily basis. And this can be done, of course, he's just going to do this particular machine, double leg, but at the same time, this can be done single legged also, one leg at a time, and also this can be done in a standing leg fashion, or it can be done in a seated curl. So once again, you can flip-flop between different exercises, no right or wrong, just stimulating that muscle on a consistent basis is what's going to get the growth, you know. And a lot of times what you want to do also, which I didn't mention with the back movement, is when you're done with a set, flex and squeeze that muscle, because you want to drive as much blood in those 4 or 5 sets as possible. So flex and squeeze the muscle so that muscle is fully pumped, rest it, and then go back to the next set, okay? So Manu is going to demonstrate here. And of course, simple, just a curl and stretch. Once again, the idea with the touch up is just getting the most squeeze out of the muscle, because you're only doing 4 sets. Get it pumped, go with some moderately heavy weight and work your way down heavy as possible, and still keeping good form is the key. Good. All right, speed it up a little bit. There you go. Get it and go. About 3, 4 more. And good. And so that's, once again, that's hamstring. And we'll move on to the next movement just to give you an example also. And once again, these are some of the ones that he actually uses himself. So we'll move on to the next one, okay? So right now what we're gonna move on to is side lateral touch-ups for the delts. Now, when it comes to delts, I believe primarily that some type of side lateral movement is the best for delts. Not even messing with any presses, front raises. And once again, unless your front delts are weak. If you feel like your front delts are weak, then touch-up training on the front delt. Mainly what people need in fitness, and then once again, this goes from figure, classic physique, men's physique, and especially those divisions, men's physique, that you need cap delts. The best way to get a cap delt is side lateral. If you're trying to build mass on the delt, of course, pressing movements is good for that. Most time you can get that just with your general workout, but when you want to get the roundness of the delt, a side lateral movement is going to be the best for that. And once again, all divisions need some type of cap, especially when you're talking about figure, classic physique, men's physique, and bodybuilding. We need cap delts, and sometimes people lag in those areas. And this is the movement, once again, consistently on a daily basis is going to help bring that up. Now, once again, we're going to demonstrate dumbbells here, but this can be done in cable fashion, a single arm cable, or it can be done in a side lateral machine. Once again, you have an option of choosing whatever, as long as you're, once again, doing that side lateral movement. Once again, if your rear delts are lagging, then you can do a rear delt touch-ups also. That's just a separate time, though, separate 4 sets. And sometimes people need a rear delt and they need a side lateral. So you have to kind of analyze your physique and see where your weaknesses are, be honest with yourself and know your weaknesses and capitalize on those with the touch-up training, okay? So demonstrate. Once again, just full range, utilizing, putting the mind strictly on the delt. Don't worry about the arms as much doing the work. The delts are doing the work. Stretching, squeezing, stretching, squeezing, stretching, squeezing. Okay. And once again, just consistency of hitting these side laterals on a daily basis. The delts will slowly cap off, you know. Good. All right. And then once again, you know, Mondo just demonstrate how you can flex in between the delts, you know, keep the muscles pumping up, you know. And this just, once again, adding more blood to the muscle. And then, once again, this goes for any muscle that you're training for touch-up. You want to go ahead and finish it off with a nice squeeze to push more blood in there, and then you rest before the next set, you know. All right, good. Okay, so now, once again, this is one that Armando likes to do also. It's his chest. He covers a lot of different body parts. Once again, nothing's perfect on anybody, so we like to bring him up. And sometimes the muscle can be decent, but you want it better. Touch-up training comes in handy for that also. And once again, so he's going to use this hammer strength machine here, but at the same time, once again, this can be done with any different apparatus. And sometimes even just doing push-ups on a bench or on the floor can actually you need to develop that muscle also. So yeah, so sometimes even push-ups, once again, can develop the chest to a certain degree. Because if you go back and look, you take a guy in the military, you know, go in the Marines, they go into boot camp with no chest at all. Once the drill sergeant puts them on push-ups like him every day, they come out. And I had a friend like this. Once again, this is one of the moments that stuck in my head. This guy I went to high school with. He was just a small chest guy. He went into the Marines. He came out after about whatever amount of weeks they stayed in there. All of a sudden, he had a huge chest. And I asked him, how you get your chest that big? And this was before I even got into bodybuilding. And anyway, he said they had him doing push-ups every single day, and he had a chest. Now, it was up to him if he wanted to maintain that once he got out, but he had a bigger chest than when he went in. And so that led me to believe, once again, the consistency of hitting the muscle on a regular basis will help that muscle grow. So no right or wrong way as far as what chest movement you want to use. It can be this incline thing. It can be this incline hammer strength, or it can be, you know, a flat press if you want to work on that area. It can be a machine, a regular press machine. So no, it makes no difference. It depends on what you want to work on, but as long as you're stimulating the muscle. Okay. So I'm going to demonstrate this. Good. Once again, you always believe in full range, good stretch, good squeeze. There you go. Good. And the same thing, so when he's done here, he'll flex that muscle, squeeze it up a little bit, get more blood into it, any kind of way possible, you know, and rest for the next set. Okay? All right. And so now we're going to demonstrate, you know, a bicep touch-up. Now, Armando, that's not necessarily one of his weaknesses, but we're going to demonstrate it for you guys. Once again, this is kind of where it started for me and where I kind of got the idea. Once again, I didn't have, you know, badly genetic arms. I didn't go to the gym or anything. I just trained, once again, dumbbell curls every day just for the heck of it, I guess. But once again, this is where I kind of got part of the idea, because my arms really grew from doing that on a regular basis. And they stay full and they stay pumped, you know, almost all the time because of hitting them. So he's going to demonstrate this. So, you know, because most guys definitely want to make sure their arms are in check. And it comes, once again, sometimes even girls, depending on the division they're in, you know. Okay. All right. And once again, just like I said on the other exercises, it makes no difference which apparatus, dumbbells, curl bar, curl machine, cables, stimulating the muscles consistently is a key, you know. And even myself, even though I don't compete anymore, I still, you know, and this is one thing I have to do, because even though my arms are genetically gifted, so to speak, I always like to keep them in check now, because once again, I'm not bodybuilding, but I always like my arms to look half decent. So I still do touch-ups on my arms, my delts, and my back, you know. Okay. You know, and once again, we're just giving a small demonstration here, but once again, you want those 4 sets to be very intense, very consistent, and preferably they should come after the major workout. Once again, you want your body to already be warm, you know, from your training before you just go into touch-ups. That way you have blood flowing through the body already, and you're not cold going into these exercises, so to speak. The body is already somewhat warmed up, and you can go right into your touch-up training immediately after that, you know. And what I also say also is that, you know, Mondo, of course, is a guy, but, you know, Sarah works with a lot, my wife Sarah works with the females on bikini, figure, and women's physique and things like that. And bikini, you know, bikini has their own touch-up. Sometimes with those girls, you know, they really want to make sure that the booty, the butt is in shape, you know, and round. So you'll see girls even today, once again, and we have our girls consistently doing something for the butt, especially when they need a bigger butt. They're going to do some type of glute work to make the butt rounder and more solid. And that's basically, you know, touch-up training. You touch up on the glutes every single day, the butt becomes bigger, rounder, and more shapelier. And that's the same thing goes for any muscle group that you touch up on. So, you know, this works for females, works for men, works for everyone. Anyone that's interested in bringing up weak areas, touch-up training is a key to do that, trust me. You try it consistently, make sure your body is rested, hydrated, fed, and then the results will come, you know. So simple as that. Give it a try, touch-up training. You heard it here, Team Long. Boom.